I have often dreamed of a far-off place where a hero's welcome would be waiting for me,
where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be.
I'll be there someday. I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong.
Down an unknown road to embrace my fate. Though that road may wander, it will lead me to you. And 1,000 years will be worth the wait. It might take a lifetime,
Hello. Hello, everyone. We're just about to get underway. Everybody can hear me okay? Muted. All right, thank you. All right, thank you to everyone that's joining us on Zoom and on YouTube. And after this meeting, the PDF of the presentation will be put in the YouTube comments and distributed so that you can see all the links for all the information that we have tonight, and any additional links that come up will be added to the presentation after. All right, so first, Swale, thank you all for being here. The work of DPAC and our PACs takes place on the shared traditional and unceded territories of the Katzie First Nation and the Kwantlen First Nation. This is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis people. We are committed to the ongoing process of reconciliation. Included in this links as well is the Indigenous focused graduation requirements from the Ministry of Education. There is resources for parents to look at and explains some of the courses, the credits, the 4 credits that are required. And I think this is a fabulous addition to our education programming, where I learned things much differently when I went to school about the history of our country. So this is great to see. So it's Rael Hachka. Thank you all for being here today. And again, this session is currently being broadcast and will be saved on our YouTube channel. So even if you're not able to see it live, you can pull it up later, as we've seen in the other ones as well. Please feel free to type any questions into the Zoom and also into the chat portion of the YouTube video. And we have people on the YouTube that will be copying and pasting into the Zoom portion so that the presenters can see that. And who's DPAC? We are the largest stakeholder at the SD42 education table, representing the parents, guardians, and primary caregivers of approximately 16,000 students. We can provide guidance to and support to PACs and parents. We're all volunteers, just like all of our other PACs, doing the best we can with what we have. Here's sort of a brief thing of what we're going to look at tonight. We'll do some brief introductions, and then the secondary principals. Thank you to them for coming. We'll have different topics that they're going to share with you on information as you get part of the transition into the next step of your child's journey. Then we'll be open to questions. So my name is Chris Schultz-Swenson. I am the current chair of SD42 DPAC. We have Trish Koft, our vice chair. We have Amanda Woodhull, our treasurer, and Katie McGilligan-Jonas, who is one of our members at large that's all helping us tonight. We are facilitating this meeting, but it really is SD42 DPAC, Mr. Ken Kober, Assistant Superintendent Ken Kober, and this team that has put this presentation together. We've been doing this for many years, and it's a great collaboration between DPAC and our district. So we appreciate and thank that. And our goal for tonight is that hopefully many of you parents that are a little bit anxious about what the registration will look like and transferring to the next stage of the journey will have some information that at least where you can go to seek more information and feel more comfortable about that process when it starts to open up. And just for those who are either involved in PACs at elementary school, it does change somewhat when you go to secondary school, but there is some active participation that PACs can play as parents. And every parent is every parent, guardian, primary caregiver is a PAC parent. And with that, I'm going to introduce Trustee Leosis to say a few words and welcome our parents to this presentation and for the district. Thank you. Gabe.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriel Leosis. I am one of 7 trustees on our school district's Board of Education. It's really a pleasure to join you all tonight during what I know is a really exciting and a big time for you and your families. Moving from grade 7 to grade 8 is a really transformative time in any student's life. I personally am 23 years old. I graduated from Maple Ridge Secondary in 2019, which means I started high school in about 2015. Much to my bewilderment, that was 9.5 years ago. Doesn't feel that long ago, but I really still remember how that transition felt. It was exciting, it was nerve-wracking, and full of a lot of unknowns. And for families, I know that this transition can feel like a big adjustment too. As a Board of Education, our core mission is to improve student achievement across the district. And we really understand how critical a smooth transition from grade 7 to grade 8 is in setting students up for success. But our district is genuinely committed to creating a safe, inclusive, and inspiring learning environment for every student to thrive. And so my one message to families is to know that your children are stepping into a community that really is dedicated to your success. And to any students who may be listening, really embrace the adventure that you have ahead. Try new things, ask questions, take on a leadership role in your school or your community, and know that you really have a strong support system behind you that wants to see you succeed. Thank you for giving me some time to speak tonight, and I really look forward to seeing some of the incredible things that that our new incoming students will accomplish in their high school years.
Thank you, Trustee Leosis, and thank you to our trustees who are passionate about education in our district. And we have some good work that has come across from our district, from our trustees and our senior team here. So we're grateful for that. So thank you. And for our next introduction, I will introduce our superintendent, Teresa Downs.
Great. Thank you so very much, Chris. Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be able to join you here. I think this evening is a lovely reflection of the collaboration between parents in the schools and the school district we seek to see every single day. So as we take this important first step in your child's journey into high school, I just want to acknowledge that grade 8 is a milestone, not just for students, but also for you as a family. And it's going to be a significant time of transition and growth and new opportunities. And I think far too often the impression is left is that families have to take a step back in high school, and just really want to encourage you to continue to play the role of parent that you are comfortable with and need to play as you support your child in their journey. And it may seem like graduation is far away, but I promise you these years will go by so quickly, and before we know it, we're going to be gathering again, but this time it'll be to celebrate your child's achievements as they cross the stage towards graduation. So thank you so much for being here tonight and for allowing us to be a part of your child's education and their journey every single day.
Thank you, Superintendent Downs. Appreciate that. Thank you. And please bear with me when we have some technical difficulties. We're working through the best. So secondary parent advisory councils, as Superintendent Downs says, there is value in the parent voice. Parent involvement matters. It does change from elementary to secondary, but is still important. And there are some important roles that parents can have. That includes ways that they provide funding to the school through the gaming grants or other activities, and it's important for your participation. And so there's a couple of things here from the Garibaldi Pact. There's a link to each one will have a link to their email if you'd like to get a hold of them. There's some information on the school websites and to see where you can participate or attend meetings and what role that you can have there. So just flip through these. They will be on the presentation later, and you'll be able to click on those and seek some more information. And with that, I will go to Assistant Superintendent Ken Kober to introduce our principals for the next part. And thank you to our principals who spent their time tonight to come out and chat with you all.
Good evening. Thanks for including us. It's an honor for me to introduce the principals as a team to speak to the grade 8 transition process. I would just echo the words that you've heard from Trustee Leos and Superintendent Downs regarding the importance and the value of this next stage in the educational journey for each of our students, the children in your care. I'm going to assume, or we assume, that the audience is dominated by first-time parents to high school. So for those parents who are returning high school parents for this presentation, this might be a bit of a review class for you, but you actually keep us honest, and we appreciate that. As a first-time parent to high school, you may have some apprehension or nervousness, but what we experience is that students are ready for this time period of both from a social, emotional, from an intellectual and a physical, all of those sorts of needs. The secondary schools are designed for the next 5-year journey in education. Our grade 8 program at our secondary schools, regardless of campus, we have 6 schools in our district, 6 high schools, regardless of campus, the grade 8 program looks very similar across all campuses, and that's by design. We think it's really important that the transition, regardless of where students are coming from, they move in and they're having a shared experience. And we recognize the value in relationship building and connection to school community. And so that's where we put our priority. And with that in mind, we as a team, the secondary principals working with me, have created a presentation to give information. They're each going to share for a couple of minutes on different topics that connect to, regardless of what campus you're transitioning to, the information is pertinent to you and to your child. I know the slide has us kind of in an order there, but because of circumstances at schools tonight for principals, they all will need to leave after they have their opportunity to speak. I will be remaining behind and going into further detail about the registration process for grade 8 and some of the rules and regulations attached to it. It says Grant Friend is our first person, but we're actually going to start with Catherine Blanco in Student Services. Catherine has obligations that we wanted to respect, and so we're having Catherine start first. So I will turn it over to Catherine now.
And thank you everybody for coming out tonight. We also have our junior dance going, so I can actually hear in the background the music and the kids dancing, having a lot of fun out there. So that's something that I think the kids love when they come to the high schools. I'm speaking about student services in our schools, and each of our high schools offer extensive support teams to meet the needs of all our kids. We have a team that includes CCW, Indigenous Support Worker. We have counselors, our teachers and our support teachers and our admin team. Those are the people right in the school. We also work extensively with support services at a district level and then with outside agencies to really make sure our kids can meet their full potential while they're here in our high schools. We also work and really value working collaboratively with the families and caregivers of our kids who we see every day at school, because we know how important you all are in the success of your children. If you find your child is struggling while they're here at one of our high schools, we always recommend that you reach out to the classroom teacher first. And it's a little bit different because they'll have anywhere from 6 to 8 teachers. And so whatever area that you find that they might be having difficulty, that's the best teacher to reach out to, or the teacher that your kiddo feels like they have a good connection with as well. And then from there, if there's further supports needed, then a wider school teams will become involved. And if your child does have a ministry designation, they will be assigned a case manager before they even land at their high school. And this case manager will be in contact with you probably in late June or towards the end of August or the first part of September before we return, just to make a connection and start to build that relationship that will be so important over the next 5 years. And I also want to assure you that there's a lot of communication that happens between the high school and the elementary school as we prepare for that transition. So while we don't, we spend time getting to know your kiddos, we have an idea of what their needs are before they come here. And I just want to stress that I've worked in several of the high schools and I've worked with people across the district, and this district is full of professionals who have the best interests of your kids really truly in their hearts. And so we all strive for them to be happy and successful. And if you're ever having any struggles or questions, I just encourage you to reach out, because we're all here. And I'm not sure, Ken, who I'm passing it off to.
I think we'll go to Grant now if Grant's available.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. Am I showing up? Can you see me?
Please, Grant.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
not-
You.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Thanks. You also might hear some noise here. We have our senior winter semi-formal here tonight. So there's a bit of noise. I'm just in the room beside the co-check room, but lots of students having fun. So just around the initial transition steps, I think if this is your first time through the process, there's anxiety that goes with it, and nerves. It is a fairly significant milestone, and making that transition can be scary. But as Catherine said, we have helped transition many families from elementary school into secondary school, and the process will start after placements, or kind of right after spring break. You'll receive a welcome letter from the high school that your child has been assigned to. We will have transition teams that start their work as well in April with some school visits to visit elementary school staff. In May, we have the students up at the end of May for a full day kind of experience where they get to see the school a little bit, meet some of our senior leaders, and just kind of take away a little bit of the kind of the aura, that might exist before. Then many schools have a program that's called Link Crew, which is a mentorship program where senior leaders are paired with incoming grade 8 students to provide a little bit of a welcome experience either at the beginning of August or at the end of August or beginning of September. So there'll be more information shared about that. I think the big thing for me, I do want to echo what Catherine said as well. I've worked at many of our high schools, all great schools. I'd be happy to be principal at any one. So wherever you land, you're going to have a great experience. And just one more thing I want to address, the kind of worry about a new school, new friends, all those kind of things. Most of the time, there's a lot of nerves that week before school starts in September. However, once the students are here and have met some new people, those nerves settle pretty quickly for the most part. So by the end of the first week, often students have made new friends. They've got their locker. They've kind of, they're in a bit of a routine. So that run up, it can be a little anxiety. There can be a little bit of anxiety there, and that's natural. But we work really hard to kind of, we're kind of a soft place where they can land, and we help them get through it. So we look forward to working with you all, and enjoy the rest of the presentation. And over to you, Darren.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. I'm Darren Rowell, principal of Thomas Haney Secondary School. Going to talk about sort of the schedule, a little bit of the nuts and bolts of grade 8 life for students. I have over 30 years in this school district, and just what Grant and Catherine said, great confidence in the education and care your child will have regardless of placement. I've been at Maple Ridge, Garibaldi, Westview, Thomas Haney, SRT, and the only exception is Pitt Meadows. So although our 6 schools have some unique programs, Thomas Haney has a self-directed model. Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows offer both English and French immersion track. Garibaldi has a middle years program. We do, as Ken Kober said, all have a common grade 8 platform with basically the same structure and same course offerings for continuity across the district. So students in elementary school primarily have one teacher, and they have some pull out for PE or specialty programs. In high school, there is way more variety in terms of specialty type opportunities, specialty spaces, art rooms that are fully stocked. We have computer labs, we have big gyms, we have teaching kitchens. So there's lots of exciting things that come with high school and lots of opportunities that come with high school. And part of the goal of the schedule is to give kids some opportunities to try some new things and to maybe discover some things that they didn't know they love, and they get to develop those skills in high school. So students in grade 8 all have 8 courses, and the 8 courses are English and socials, science and math, phys ed, and then there is a language course. Typically it is French, but sometimes it is a French and Spanish combination. It's all exploratory language at this point. And then the 7th and 8th courses are sort of the exciting parts for grade 8. There is a rotation where students will take what we call an ADST rotation. So that's the applied design skills and technology. And it includes things that, as parents, we would have done way back when: woodwork, metalwork, foods and sewing. Kids still love doing these, learning new skills. And there's also computers, coding, and design as part of that rotation. And then there is a fine arts rotation, and the fine arts rotation includes, it might include arts class, whether it's 2D or 3D. It might include some multimedia design on a computer. There might be a music rotation. And the secondary schools all sort of have that common platform, both the rotations and the set classes. Our secondary schools also have something called Flex Block. And Flex Block is a scheduled portion of the day where students don't have an assigned scheduled class, but it is open instructional time where students make some choices with what they're going to work on based on where they're at in their various subjects. So a student in grade 8 might use that flex time to work on some math. There will be a teacher assigned there, and that flex time allows some freedom and the ability to start developing those skills of managing their learning and connecting in those areas that they really love. So grade 8 schedules, as Grant talked about that transition, we get extensive transition notes from elementary school, and the grade 8 students are placed in a schedule very intentionally based on the transition notes from the elementary schools. And sometimes those notes include sort of some pairings of students to help that grade 8 transition. So there's lots of supports that are sort of built in behind the scenes to help students transition successfully to high school. I think I will be passing it to Colin Sharp from Pitt Meadow Secondary.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. As Darren said, my name is Colin Sharp. I'm the principal at Pitt Meadow Secondary. I'm a little bit newer to the district, but 21 years and 8 schools later, this is a great district, and I'm very proud to be the principal at Pitt. Get to wear 2 hats this year. My own son is joining us, or joining grade 8 next year in this district, so I'm pretty excited for that, but a little shocked that that's where we are at this point. I'm just talking about grade 8 assessment and reporting. Grade 8 teachers, as well as grade 9 teachers, use the proficiency scale to assess student learning as part of the provincial reporting order. And so students will already be familiar with the language as is consistent with the elementary language that you will have noticed on your report cards. Under this model, students don't receive a letter grade. Rather, they're placed on the scale of proficiency in relation to the curricular competencies of the course. So if you're not familiar with the language of the report cards, your student will be placed on the emerging, developing, proficient, or extending. The proficiency scale is not akin to letter grades and doesn't converge, so it's important to know what the different levels mean. Emerging is basically meaning an initial understanding. Developing is a partial understanding. Proficient is what we aim for, which is a complete understanding. And extending means the student is demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of the course and the curricular competencies. The goal, as I said, is that all students can demonstrate a proficiency by the end of the year. Over the course of the year, we have 3 formal and 2 informal learning updates with the summary learning in June. Student-led conferences are held twice a year over the course of the year. And some of you might see what's an IE on the report card or the student learning update. And that just means that the student has not provided sufficient evidence of learning in relation to the course competencies, which could be based off of extended absences, missing work. But this IE will be communicated along with a plan to support the student in how they can move on to the proficiency scale. Descriptive feedback is the goal, which was to include statements saying what the student can do. And usually we want that to be strength-based, as well as a statement of what the student is working towards, which is an area of future growth. As well, we encourage teachers to discuss strategies to support growth or next steps, and a statement about student habits and engagement. So those would have been the old work habits that we grew up under, which is the G, S, or N. And so those should be separate from the academic achievement. Once students are on the BC grad program, which is grade 10 through 12, that's when they will start receiving a percentage, which converts to a letter grade. So if you remember, 86 being an A, 73 to 85 being a B, 67 C plus, 60 C, 50 C minus. If in doubt, we always encourage parents to reach out to teachers. We want to make sure that the lines of communication are open. All staff emails are on school websites. So if you ever have questions or concerns, we always encourage you to reach out to specific subject teachers in order to celebrate success, make plans for intervention, but always make sure that the lines of communication are clear. At this point, I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Elphick, principal at SRT.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Elphick. As Colin said, I'm proud principal of SRT. I want to give a special shout out to my neighbors, Craig and Stacy, who have their first child kind of entering high school. Kaylee's going to be going to Garibaldi next year. So excited for her. And I know they had some questions. I'm not even sure they're on tonight, but they definitely have questions like all of you will about school. My own 3 children went from K to 12. They're all graduated now, and 2 of them have graduated universities, but they had a great experience in SD42. I had an extrovert, an introvert, and a child somewhere in between. And one of the things that made their life kind of more successful at high school was they got really involved in extracurricular activities. So I just want to take a few minutes and talk about that. First, we know for sure that participation in clubs and teams has a huge impact on student success. Research consistently shows that students who engage in extracurricular activities feel a stronger sense of belonging at school, they develop better social connections, have higher academic achievement, and experience improved mental health. And that's just getting involved makes schools a better place. Second, all 6 high schools in our district offer a wide variety of clubs and sports teams. While each school might have its own unique offerings, every student will have opportunities to get involved in whether it's arts, athletics, leadership, or other interest-based activities. No matter which high school your kid attends, they will find an opportunity to participate and connect. It's really like the school day can feel really condensed for kids. It starts at 8:30, class, flex, another class, then lunch, which is usually about half an hour, then 2 more classes, and school's over at 2:45. But really, our doors are open, as you're finding out from the other principals tonight. They're open all evening. Basketball runs all evening. Dances are running. Badminton, lots of other sports and clubs happening. And I think it's incredibly important that your kid find some niche outside of the actual classroom experience in order to make high school a good experience. And I just want to clarify one thing about extracurriculars. They don't really factor into transfers. If there isn't a sport that's taking place at one school and you really want your kid to participate, that won't, as you'll find out later, there's other primary kind of focuses in terms of transfers. And so, my main message is we encourage you to participate as much as possible in every opportunity the kids have. If they don't like something and they try it, that's okay. Yeah, that's my message. It's kind of the easiest of the night, but don't forget, it's if your kids arriving at home saying, I'm having trouble making friends, getting involved in things like outdoor club or things like that, they might find their niche. So thanks very much. And I think it's on to Mr. Liversidge, the closing principal.
Thanks, Ken. Sorry about that. I couldn't find the right button. My name's Ian Liversidge. I'm at Garibaldi Secondary School. We're having our dance today. We call it a senior formal. Just saying. Your students are in for an exciting opportunity. Like Darren, I've worked at every school in our district but one. that one school I haven't worked at hosted both my nephews, and they both had an outstanding experience in this school. My role today is really to talk to you about some tips and tricks to make sure that that conversation can come well and things can bridge really, really well. Oftentimes, being a dad myself, the post-school conversation with a teenager is a little bit staggered, a little bit truncated. And one of the tools that can be really, really good is understanding your child's schedule and understanding how each day, which classes they see. So instead of saying, what did you do at school today? You can take the opportunity to specifically ask them about what subject they had that day. So being able to understand the block rotation in the individual school and use a duplicate copy of the paper planner if their school is still on a paper planner, or as many of our schools are, we're on a digital planner, and you can download that planner as well with your child's schedule. So instead of that blank question of what did you do today, you're being able to say, what did you do in math or science or socials or English, and being able to enter into conversations. And that brings a strength. You'll find that some things are oddly similar to your time at high school. Sometimes things are completely different. For example, my background was in science. We're doing stuff in Science 9 and 10 as an introductory level that I didn't see until university. They've just become ideas that are accepted and brought into curriculum much earlier, and that's quite exciting. Also, grade 8 is largely a review year. The content is not overwhelming, but what becomes overwhelming is learning a new pattern of work, learning that you are finding your way amongst 8 or 12 different teachers, because you have your academic and then your elective rotation, as Mr. Rowell pointed out. And that is difficult to be able to work to find the pattern with each of those teachers. A big help to that is setting up a regular routine at home where homework can be done in a public space. Homework is a part of a routine, and even if it's just a little bit of time each night to be able to do some review or meaningful conversation around school, that sets a real positive pattern, because the workload does begin to increase grade 9 and into grade 10. And then in grade 11, grade 12, which I know is 3 years away, but as Ms. Downs said, it goes very quickly. They'll enter into a place where they need those habits to be able to obtain their academic goals, whatever they are. A third challenge, or another challenge that is coming, is all of the schools have moved in the last year to restrictions within the phone policies as directed by the school board, and the province. We've all adjusted that a little bit in a different way. Every school treats it a little bit differently. So that'll be something to make sure that you're supportive in managing. I will say, as a 31-year educator, or 33-year educator, the vast majority of student conflicts we have are based on evening phone activity, most specifically the app Snapchat. I would encourage you as a parent, and again, I'm a dad too, to understand how those apps work, understand their limitations, and really consider your own home boundaries on that phone, because again, the issues that we're finding in our community linked to late night use of phones and conflicts that develop from that, and frankly, quite dangerous behavior, is very significant. There are resources, I know, on our website underneath the parent tab, district resources. We have a handout that came from well-respected sources on some of those limitations and those apps and the concern. So phones is becoming another thing. The last sort of theme I want to touch on is connectivity to the school. Sometimes people feel that schools are these large faceless entities. I have 1,068 students in this school. I probably know 350 of their stories, and I probably know 700 names. And that's not uncommon. All of my peers will be basically the same. We do care greatly, and we are not a faceless entity. We are busy, but we are a phone call away, or we are an email away. Every one of the schools works to update their website daily. There are posted newsletters seasonally. Our district maintains a very high standard of digital communication. The parent portal, which you would have used at elementary school, is still used for announcements, field trips, fee collection. You still have the opportunity through the My Class system to do reporting of absences. And additionally, the My Class system is the primary venue for collection and distribution of report cards. In the case of my school, our report cards are 12 pages long. If you take 12 pages and multiply that times over 1,000 students, you can see why we don't photocopy them, print them, and have them handed to a student so they can live in a backpack for a while. It is important that you make sure that you're able to access both that parent portal and the My Class system. The system will carry forward from elementary school. There'll be no massive transition. But if you're not able to access that, then make sure you begin that journey now. I believe at this point, all of the schools do teach the students how to access the My Class system so they can show you how to access the report card. That's a great myth. High school is an awesome experience, and it gives students the chance to try and do different things and to try and connect with different people. And grade 8 is the right platform to enter into that, where we have our elective rotations, you have your core subjects, we have a bit of a mixing of students from different schools, and then we work to make sure that we have that supportive environment. It is very much, in very many ways, a team sport. All of us, all of the secondary administrators, we all live in the community, and all of us talk with joy about the opportunities we have when we see people that we watch grow from grade 8 through to graduation, and then we run into them into different roles. They'd make me go last because I'm the senior statesman. It's not quite happened yet where I've connected with the child of an ex-student, but we're getting there. And it's actually a really neat experience. So welcome to the community. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. And with that in mind, I'll pass over to Ken, who, as I understand, will be reviewing the processes, etc., for the registration/transfer experience. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian, and thank you to the whole team. I'm hopeful that as a parent audience, you were able to get a genuine feel for the collaboration amongst the secondary administrators. That I get a great deal of satisfaction and have a real sense of pride for the work that they do on a daily basis at their individual schools and what they do together collectively. I am going to go through, there's about 6 or 7 slides. I'm sensitive to time. I will try to honor the hour-long presentation and be able to provide answers also to questions. I do know there are some questions that have come through the chat already. I'm hopeful I can embed some answers right in. And at the end of the presentation, if I haven't answered questions, then I will turn that over and have someone from DPAC to facilitate bringing me those questions to my attention, see if I can answer them. So if we could move forward on the slides, if that's possible. That's starting there. So I recognize there's 3 bullets at the bottom of that slide. I am going to get to those 3 bullets, but based on some of the questions that came up in the chat, I want to talk about something in advance, and that's about some program levels at the schools. There are 6 secondary schools. The campuses, they have what I would say a lot of common denominator qualities overall. There are individual characteristics at each campus. The grade 8 level, we've deliberately made the grade 8 experience so that it is similar regardless of campus, and that is why the principals were able to give their presentation as they were. There are 3 types of programs I will talk to you about, because sometimes people use those programs to steer their decision making, and I want to make sure they're giving it the appropriate amount of weight, or they're not including it in their decision making. So the first program I'll talk about is French immersion. French immersion exists at 2 of our campuses, and the only students eligible for French immersion at high school are students who are currently in French immersion in their grade 7 year. You cannot start French immersion at grade 8 and grade 8 be your first year in French immersion. There are only 2 entry points into French immersion, and those entry points are typically either at the kindergarten grade 1 level or at grade 6, which would be described as late French immersion admission, grade 6. So if you are not currently in French immersion in grade 7, then when you're selecting your school, please be mindful that you're selecting the English program, in particular for the 2 schools, Pitt Meadow Secondary and Maple Ridge Secondary. They have French immersion on their campus. And so if you're looking for French immersion, you have to pick the French immersion stream attached to the school's name. If you do not want French immersion, do not pick that. The second of the 3 programs I want to talk to you about is the IB program. And I do believe some chat questions came up about that. So IB, the International Baccalaureate, is a program that starts at the grade 11 level, grade 11, 12. Is the sort of the traditional IB program. The IB program also has a middle years program, and we're very proud of our Garibaldi Secondary School for having established full accreditation for the middle years program as well, which is associated with IB program. You do not have to do the middle years program to go into IB. So any student in grade 10 in our district can apply for Garibaldi for grade 11 for the IB program. And our Garibaldi Secondary School annually has an IB information session so that families of current grade 9 and 10 students can attend Garibaldi's information session and get a better understanding for the IB program. I do know information on the IB program is on their website as well. Now, you may have a real passion for the middle years program for your child. And so if you're not living in the Garibaldi catchment, you may think, well, we would like to apply to Garibaldi so that we can have our child experience the middle years program before IB. And that's completely an available choice for you to make. And I'll get into that further along in the presentation. All students in grade 8, 9, and 10 at Garibaldi will be in the middle years program. It is a comprehensive program. All students are included in the middle years program. Once you're in grade 10 at Garibaldi, you make the decision, do you want to continue into IB at grade 11, or do you want to transition to the traditional Dogwood pathway for graduation? And then the question about, are the courses in the middle year program, grade 8, 9, and 10, the equivalent to the BC curriculum? And the answer is yes. The courses completely overlap. And what the Garibaldi staff do is they enrich in their approaches to the instruction, the assessment, and the way it is formatted is really how they address and the curriculum enrichment activities they do address what the middle year program expects. Now, the third program that I want to talk to you about are trades programs. We have trades programs in 3 of our 6 high school campuses. Trades programs, typically students enter the trades program in their grade 12 year. You do not have to be attending that campus in order to qualify for the trades program. All of our students are eligible for trades, and we do not give priority. There's no home ice advantage to a student if they're already attending in grade 10 or 11 at the school where the trades program is. That's not how the trades program, equal opportunity for all students in our district. And so the majority of our students in the trades program in grade 12 typically have relocated from their home campus to the school that hosts the particular trades program they're interested in. So now I will get to the 3 bullets at the bottom of this slide. All of our secondary schools are designed to be comprehensive programs so they can accommodate all students and all student needs. So, and as you heard from the presentations, hopefully it came through to you that they really, the school's approach, regardless of what campus it is, it really is a comprehensive approach to taking care of the child, whether it's social, emotional, physical, or intellectual. There is consideration given and attention directed to what does it look like for the students. Now, when it comes to the assigning of students, what drives the assignment process is a board policy. It's board policy 9200. And then board policy 9200 comes with a procedure, which is procedure 9200.1. And you please feel free to look that up through our website and on the tab for the board. But I will give it sort of I'll give it the shorthand version. There are sort of four main categories around the placement process. The first priority for placement is catchment. So when considering student placement, our first sort of guarantee is we will place a student in their catchment. And then the second sort of priority on placement is we talk about siblings. So if there's an active sibling in a high school, we will place the next student of that family in that same high school if we can, whether it is or is not catchment. Now, that sibling clause, the sibling needs to be active in the school at the same time as the other student will be enrolling. So the maximum grade level you can use a sibling clause for is a current grade 11 who will return to the school next year for grade 12, so that the grade 8 and the grade 12 student are in the same school. You cannot use a student who's currently in grade 12 this year because they will not be there next year. So they don't meet the definition of a sibling that will coexist in the same building. The third category for placement is out of catchment students. So we place all students that are in catchment. We place students that have a sibling in the school. Then the third one is if we still have place vacancy in the school, we will place out of catchment student requests. So students that are in our district, but they don't live in the catchment for the school they're asking for. And then the third, below that one, the next placement order is students that are out of our district. So their home address is not in our district, but they are applying to attend high school in our district. So they are placed in from a sequencing fourth. So first is catchment, second is sibling, third is out of catchment in district, and fourth is out of catchment, out of district. If we could go to the next slide now, please. Now we're getting a little further into the nuts and bolts around this registration process. There was mention about this parent portal. Hopefully, people here on this Zoom call, the majority are familiar with the parent portal, but if you are not, the first thing you need to do is register for a parent portal account. That's where all of the grade 8 registration process will occur. You have a parent portal account. One of the things for the parent portal, it's important for people to know, you can only access the parent portal if you are from Canada. You cannot access our parent portal site outside of Canada. The registration process, the registration period for grade 8 begins at noon on Tuesday, February 11th, and it closes at the end of the day on Tuesday, February 25th. So it is open for 2 weeks. Our goal is that every family and student that want to attend grade 8, starting in September this fall in our district, they register in that time period. We would like to have all of our grade 8s in that first wave of registration, because the placement process, the first placement process, will occur at the close of this registration period, February 25th. And we would like everyone to have equal opportunity to that priority sequence, that in catchment, sibling, out of catchment, out of district. Here's a detail I really think is important for people. I hope you hear this one, because I want to take down your anxiety. Yes, first of all, the registrations are based on priority, and then we base them on a timestamp, date and timestamp for your registration. Please know that the date and timestamp goes onto your registration when you open your registration ticket up. It's not when you have completed it and submitted it. It's when you activate a ticket and you start to fill in the information. So please do not feel like you have to open it and fill the information in 4.5 seconds. You have time. Get the ticket open. The date and timestamp is created right then for you. And and then you have the opportunity to complete your application for the registration for your child in a way that's not elevates your anxiety even more. Two other pieces I'll point out to you. When you go on to the registration there and you want to register, you're going to have, there's two available buttons for you for registering. If your child is currently in grade 7 in one of our school district 42 elementary school programs, then you will use what's called an existing student registration, and that's the orange button. I encourage you to make sure you push the orange button because you're going to have to do less typing on the form, because the form will pre-populate with the information you have that we have on the portal already for you as a family with your grade 7 student that's active in our district. If you are a family that does not have a student currently attending grade 7 in an SD42 school, even if you live in our district, but if you're not an active student in one of our school district schools, then you will need to use the green button and you are considered a new student. Even if you were a student in our district in previous years, and it just happens maybe that this year you're not in our district, you will need to use the new student button. Similarly, please be aware, even though you have to fill in more information on your form, as soon as you open that form, the date and time stamp is created. Can we go to slide 4 now, please? Okay, slide 4. So now here, I'll just go through in the parent portal. So you have the account, you click on it. How do we determine, are you in catchment or not? And we work with your home address that is in your the MyEd account at the school, at your elementary school. Or for those people with the that do the new student, you will end up typing in your address, that new student button. And then we will have to verify your information at a later date. But those existing families, we will be able to pull your address up that you have in MyEd. So that brings me to the point that if your current address isn't the correct address in MyEd at your home school, you need to get into your home school and get that updated. And the update process for addresses, the technicality to it, the details to it, that's on the parent portal. It's under the parent column, or it's on the district website. It's under the parent column of information. It's under registration, and it's supporting documents. And I'm not going to be able to rhyme it all off to you, but I will tell you this. If you're changing your address, you're going to have to provide 2 pieces of identification or to confirm the new address. And there are 2 categories for the information you can provide, category A, category B. You must have minimum 1 piece of identification from category A. You cannot use 2 pieces from category B. So the maximum you can use is 1 piece from category B and have 1 with category A. You can also use 2 pieces from category A and none from category B. But the part that doesn't work is you can't just use all category B, and you need 2 pieces. And that details to that is on the parent portal. And I talked to you about the sibling piece. It needs to be an active sibling when the when they're both in the school at the same time. Now, the final point on this slide is about first and second choice. All right. So I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Every single person who registers for grade 8 will be given the opportunity to select a first and second choice school. So, and if your catchment school is your choice school, yes, please select it. Now, but it doesn't mean you have to select your catchment school as one of your choices if it isn't your choice. But do understand that you may be assigned to your catchment school even if it wasn't your first and second choice. And the part that I should explain about that is I should draw it back to that placement policy and procedure we have. As a district, we have a responsibility to manage our enrollment and maximize the use of our secondary school campuses. And we, it evolves in our community where people live and where students are growing, where the young families are, and where we get communities that sort of what I would describe as age out of the K to 12 profile. But that doesn't mean the secondary schools aren't meant to be delivering service in the community. So we have a responsibility to make sure we're maximizing our campuses. And another dimension that we have going on for us, which is a good problem to have in this district, is that we are a growing community, and the number of students we have in our school district each year is increasing. So each year we've seen an increase in the last few years of 100 to 200 students a year. And because of that, we have less vacancy in each of our secondary school campuses. We have quite a few very full, high functioning secondary campuses. So that first and second choice piece is important. Yes, we want your voice. We want to know what's your first choice for school. What is your second choice for school? If your catchment school is either your first or second choice, absolutely make that pick. Please also be aware that if your catchment school is not your first or second choice, you may potentially be assigned to the catchment school because we are working with our placement policy and procedure approach and balancing enrollment. Okay, if we can go to slide 5. This slide is really about dates. There's some dates that have passed. Just as a reminder, I talked about the IB program. Garibaldi annually has an information night, usually this week. Usually happen like this week, the week we do the DPAC presentation. Their IB information night happened last night. Learning Services similarly provides a customized information night for families of students in grade 7 that are attached to student services or a case manager at their elementary school. Hopefully those families were able to attend. If you weren't able to attend that, didn't get that information, please reach out to the support staff member at your elementary school, and they will connect you with potential available online information with that. A date that does apply to every student on Wednesday, May 21st. We have that as the grade 8 visit day, or the grade 7 to grade 8 day. So all grade 7 students will have the opportunity to attend their high school, their assigned high school, for one day and it's Wednesday, May 21st. So all of our secondary school campuses host the grade 8 day on that day. And the grade 7 schools are aware of that. And the grade 7 students are expected to attend the school that they were assigned. One other piece of information, I think Grant Friend already alluded to earlier in our presentation, about many of the secondary schools host visitation days either late August or early in September for people, for our grade 8 people. There's links there on that slide as well about the Garibaldi Middle Years program, but you can go to the Garibaldi website and find out information about that. If we could go to slide 6. So once placements are done on February 25th, they close on that Tuesday, February 25th. That gives us as a district and our placement committee opportunity to go through the placement processes, look at all the first and second choices, look at the capacities in the schools, and assigned students to schools. Our goal is by the first Friday in March, which is Friday, March 8th, notification will go to families, giving families the communication about where the students have been assigned, what school they have been assigned to. If as a family, the assignment you received isn't the assignment you were looking for, what you can do is apply for a transfer. So do not think that your grade 8 registration ticket remains active. It doesn't remain active after February 25th. We take that data from February 25th, we use it for our assignments, and then that data and timestamp are not used again. If you're wanting something different than the assignment you receive on Friday, May 8th, then by Wednesday, March 12th, the following Wednesday at noon, our transfer phase opens, and you can apply for a transfer. You will only be able to select one school for the transfer. You identify what school you're wanting for grade 8. We'll automatically know what one has been the assigned school. Similarly, the transfers are considered in the same process: catchment, sibling, out of catchment, out of district priorities, and date, time, and stamp apply. Similarly, when you open your transfer ticket, that's when the date and the timestamp are placed on it. You don't have to have the transfer completed and submitted to get your stamp of time and date. That's done as soon as you open it. We have 3 transfer phases in the secondary placement process. The first transfer phase considerations are done in early April. The second phase happens by mid-June, and the third phase happens at the end of August. If you've submitted a transfer in the first phase and we aren't able to honor it, it remains active through to phase 2, and it remains active through to phase 3. So a transfer stays active all the way through all 3 phases if we're not able to honor it. If we're able to honor it, then it gets closed and it's deactivated. But if we cannot honor it, you will get a communication at the end of phase 1 indicating whether we can honor it or not. And we say it remains active unless you want to cancel it. Same for phase 2. And then at phase 3, we also will do a similarly. We'll ask if you want to keep it active for the following school year. Typically, we do not do transfers during a school year. We do the transfers in advance of the school year. Let's see. Do I have anything else about transfers? I do not have anything else about transfers. So if we go to the next one, that one's this. I don't think I really need to spend much time on this one. You've heard this one. What our commitment is, the work that we do as a secondary school with the elementary schools to ensure we create the smoothest transition possible. We recognize that changing school campuses, changing communities does have an impact on students and families, and sense of belonging and being seen and being recognized is a really important dimension for students to achieve. And really, I go right back to the original, what you heard from Trustee Leos. We're really looking for students to maximize student achievement, but we also want to maximize their connection and their sense of belonging in their home school. Now, questions on the side. I haven't been able to keep up with them because I've been talking a lot through this, but I see there's a question about self-directed model. Self-directed model at Thomas Haney doesn't. The grade 8 students are not participating in a self-directed model at Thomas Haney. The self-directed model starts, it has a gradual entry. There's a small bit in grade 9, a little more in grade 10, and then grade 11 and 12, it's much greater. And there isn't, self-directed isn't designed for any one type of learner. Self-directed is really dependent on the student and families. We have students that transfer over to Thomas Haney in later grades from other secondary schools because they want to explore self-directed. We also have students that are students at Thomas Haney that will live the self-directed experience and decide, no, it's not for them. We talked about IB. Summer school. There was a question here about summer school, summer camp idea. What I would throw out there's one program that you might want to consider. We have an ADST program at our summer learning program. So summer learning is in July. It takes place for the first 3 weeks in July, like approximately July 1st to 19th type thing. whatever the third Friday in July is usually when it ends. And we have this ADST program. It's specifically for students exiting grade 7, coming into grade 8. And the ADST program is operated by high school teachers, and it is there's different streams. We have 4 or 5 streams. We have a computer programming. There's 2 different versions of computer programming. We have a woodwork, we have a metalwork, and we have a drama fine arts stream. And that's for students, and it really gives them a flavor of that high school environment. It's hosted at Thomas Haney Secondary School in the summer. That's where our secondary summer learning program is. We have approximately, last year we had approximately 900 secondary students taking courses in grade 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, in addition to the grade 7 ADST summer learning program. I think I answered the question about what to do if you want the middle years program and it's not your catchment. No, the middle years program is only at Garibaldi. IB is only at Garibaldi. Environmental school rate as priority in school placement. You're wanting to attend environmental school for grade 8. That actually is outside of my portfolio. If you're not currently in the environmental school, you would need to reach out to the, that would be something to reach out to the environmental school principal. If you're having difficulty with that, reach out to me and I'll make that connection for you. Or if that question means you are currently in grade 7 at environmental school and you're like, what's your placement for grade 8? Our environmental schools, environmental school students, actually, they have a unique characteristic to their placement process. They have kind of a dual in-catchment status. So environmental students have their address, their home address, which is used for an in-catchment location, but also environmental schools students have Thomas Haney as an assigned in-catchment school as well. So they sort of have a dual track for their catchment school. So I really, in the committee, when placing students, the environmental students, when selecting high schools, we do take that into consideration. Schools, catchment school. If twins are transferring to high school, for one twin, the desired school is the catchment school. French immersion for the other twin is not. Would it be considered an active student at school for the assignment care? Twins. Excellent. And so this is a twins question. So let me just talk about twins. I love this twins. Oh my gosh. I think we had, I don't know, I think we had like 20 sets of twins last year. And I get it. You can't open 2 tickets at once for twins. So what we do, and we do a manual check on twins to ensure that the tickets for both the twins have the earlier date and time stamp. So your first ticket you open, we will assign to the second ticket. Please feel free to send a little friendly message to the portal help desk to say, hey, I submitted 2 twin tickets. Can you make sure they're both timed the same? We understand that families, for the most part, want their twins to attend the same school. So we will put your first and second choices down as you see fit for those twins, and we'll do our best to accommodate that. Hopefully I answered that question. I'm not giving you more information about self-directed, about Thomas Haney. Thomas Haney self-directed doesn't apply to grade 8, and self-directed is something a student can explore. It's more a grade 10, 11, 12 approach to learning. And once you get to your high school, while Thomas Haney is officially self-directed, the other high school campuses have many different flavors of programming that, while they're not self-directed, they have some sort of flavor that could overlap with that in some areas. What if my child is already attending in an elementary school as the same catchment as the desired higher school? It's not about the elementary school's address. It's about your home address that makes the decision for your high school assignment. So it's your home address. It's not about what elementary school you're at. How long do you have to complete the ticket on the portal? That's a really good question. I don't have the exact time in minute, but I do understand there is a significant length of time from the time you open it to the time you complete it, that it maintains the date and time stamp. But if you want to know the exact amount of time, that's something you could put into the portal to find that out. But like it is like it's not about seconds or minutes, it's like hours. Okay. My kids live in 2 households, not in the same catchment. Is there any comparative to justify an out of catchment application? Okay. That's a good one. This is not uncommon where students have more than one home address, and there are 2 parents that both have portal accounts, something that we come across. So what we do is they're called a duplicate application. And if the 2 parents submitted separate grade 8 placements and there's a difference in the application, we cannot move forward with a placement until we have both parents have the same on their applications, or the ideal is one parent cancels their application and we work with one ticket, especially when there's 50-50 parental responsibilities. So we really do need to honor the parental responsibilities. We understand, again, placement is based on address. Let's see, how am I doing here? Am I missing anything else? Okay. Oh, Kanaka Creek students. Yes, Kanaka Creek grade 7s, although you're still in school in July, Kanaka Creek students do get to participate in the ADST program. You have to register just like all other students. I didn't mention the registration. Registration for the summer learning program happens mid-April, closes the first sort of May 8th, so early May. So you need to get the registration in then. And then what we do, if we have get Kanaka Creek students that register for summer learning, we communicate that with Kanaka Creek School. So Chad Rabel, the principal, we coordinate with him and his team so that they know what grade 7s have asked to participate in summer learning and which ones are not. And then we work with the Kanaka Creek staff to ensure the Kanaka Creek students are able to come up in the morning to Thomas Haney to participate in the ADST. If I choose Garibaldi, will my choice placed directly in IB? Yes, any student in grade 8 at Garibaldi will be the middle years program. And the grade 8 day, May 21st, if you're not able to attend, it's not a requirement to attend. There's definitely going to be more opportunities for your student to have a first introduction to the school and meet and have orientation activities. It's just a sort of a common day that we have set so that we have a shared experience. We maximize the shared experience for all grade 7s, and then they have the opportunity to, in a safe way, go back to their grade 7 environment the next day, an environment they're familiar with, and they can share, the things that worked and were exciting, and then also the things they're have time to reflect on that they want to do differently, so they're better prepared. Okay. Yes, the IB program, middle years program, uses BC curriculum. Websites have extracurricular activities available. They do have extracurricular activities listed on their websites, but there's an ebb and flow to the extracurricular activities at each secondary school, and because it's dependent on staff sponsors, staffing is a fluid environment. We don't have each year there are staffing changes. So sometimes someone who sponsors one activity one year, they might have, for whatever reason, changed school campuses or locations. And so that activity may not continue, or it may continue. So please don't feel like because something is up on a website now, it means it's for sure going to be there next year. And the flip is, there might be something that's missing or not on the website you're looking for, but it could exist actually next year at the school. And oftentimes, the extracurricular activities are generated from student enthusiasm, and they come forward with the idea, and they sort of market it to staff, and they themselves recruit the staff member sponsor. Do you need a laptop for grade 8, or is one supplied? You do not need one, and no, we don't supply you with one either. But we make technology available for students. If there's a need for it, typically each one of our campuses have laptops available for students to sign up for day use at schools. And also we have laptops. Each school has a supply of laptops that they do that are not just day use laptop sign out. They have agreements they do with families if there's sort of a multi-night or multi-week, multi-month use agreements. Okay. AP program. AP courses. AP is done at the grade 12 level, and we have very limited AP programming currently going on in our secondary schools, but that is at the grade 12 level. That's advanced placement courses, and where we mostly see advanced placement, if we have it, would be at a psychology or advanced placement calculus. Those would be the two courses that I can think that maybe are currently active. And out of our 6 campuses, I think only 2 have those. But there is no AP. Not having AP in grade 12 does not cause any hardship for a student when it's considering post-secondary. Grade 8, forget about 8th grade going from EME, does the child have to give the IB entrance? There's no entrance to the IB program. There's no test or assessment for going into IB. All students in grade 8 will be in the middle years program, and there's no testing to go into the IB program at the grade 11 level. If you're interested in attending the IB program, you just express that interest, and they have advising counselors, student counseling advising with you to make sure the selection process is done in an informed way. Odyssey program catchment does not have the environmental school system. Odyssey school works specifically with parent address only. So parent address determines catchment for high school if you're an Odyssey school. Oh, if you should use a phone or a computer to register. Well, love that question. You need to be in Canada, yes, when you're registering. And I'll give you a stat. We find on our parent portal, over 70% of the traffic on our parent portal is done through phones. Having said that, I would want to do it on my computer because I know what I'm like with my phone. So really, that's a personal preference. Do you want to do it with your phone or your computer? Either, whatever works for you. I know I choose computer, but like I said, over 70% of the traffic on our portal is done through phone. Okay, I'm going to see did I miss any questions there? I'll throw that back to you. Not seeing any more questions popping up. I'm really sensitive to the time. I really appreciate your patience for those people that have stayed here for this entire presentation. And hopefully this has provided you with the information that you need. Ah, lovely, my last slide. That's just a reminder picture where you're going to go, parents, and then where you're going to click for registration. The little red boxes around the particular menu you want. And if you go up a couple spots above that red box, you'll see where when I spoke about if you need to change your address, you can find out about category A and category B types of identification needed. And you need 2 pieces of identification to change your address. And you need to do that with your elementary school. And they confirm those identification, ID identification process for address. All right. I really appreciate your time tonight. I love that the DPAC organized this each year for us, and we get an opportunity to showcase our secondary schools.
Hang on, Ken, we've got some additional questions from the YouTube.
Go for it.
I'm just going to type them all in chat because there's a few coming in. So I'll transfer them over as they come in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, because there's about a 20-second delay from what they see on YouTube to what is in Zoom. So we just need to give a few seconds to account for that.
Sure.
Okay,
There's
so
a
we've got
question.
if we accept the high school assignment, do we need to submit the transfer request on March 12th?
So if you there isn't a so I'm going to translate that question to mean if we assign you a school and you accept it, there isn't an acceptance process. We assign it. That is the school the student is assigned to. There's no, you don't get to accept or reject it. If you're saying we like the assignment we received, you don't need to do a transfer. But if you're saying you do not like the assignment that you receive on March 8th, then yes, you do need to make a transfer for March 12th, because we do not look back at the grade 8 registrations that were submitted between February 11th and 25 and assume someone likes or dislikes. We need to hear your voice again after the assignment.
Okay.
Our students are guaranteed to get into the catchment school. Well, I can't say guaranteed, but that is our first priority, to get students in their catchment school. It really depends. That's why I go back to saying we as a district would love everyone to apply. We get all applications at once. If as a family you miss the February 11th to 25th window of registration and you have to register in the transfer period, because that's what happens. If you miss the first registration, you have to register in the transfer period. We may have run out of space in your catchment school after we did our first placement process from the first wave of registrations, February 11th to 25th. So we can't say you're guaranteed your catchment for sure, but catchment is first priority. So if there's anything we could guarantee, it will be that you get catchment, but we can't even guarantee that. If your child has an IEP, wait, the question just disappeared on me. If your child has an IEP, when do you usually have a meeting at the high school? So once you're a student in the fall as grade 8, like every year, if you have an IEP, you have an annual IEP update, and the parents are involved in the IEP documentation. So you should hear from a case manager, a high school case manager that's working with your child, and that's when you would, and through the case manager, you would coordinate your meeting. Having a sibling at first choice school guarantee, or just a better chance for getting the same school? Sibling is not a guarantee either. Sibling, and if it's an out of catchment school, is puts you ahead of out of catchment applications, but it does not put you ahead of in catchment application. But definitely identify if you have a sibling. That is a helpful piece of information, because it is second in the sequencing process. And you definitely, if you're interested in Hockey Academy at SRT, you can cross enroll between Garibaldi and SRT. The enrollment for Hockey Academy at SRT and Pitt Meadows is limited, but they also are sensitive to the fact, like, a student doesn't attend Hockey Academy for 5 years, so you might not get in your grade 8 year, but maybe you'll get into Hockey Academy in a different grade during high school. Okay, let's see here. Have I lost the questions? I seem to.
I think, Ken, there's a question on the gifted program at an elementary school and where that fits in with placement.
Oh, here we are. Do students who are at the gifted program in elementary still attend challenges? The gifted is navigated a little differently through the secondary schools. Quite often the gifted is within the campus, the secondary school campus. We do have a helping teacher, a district level helping teacher who helps run the challenge program, who can satellite in to the secondary school campus to help facilitate gifted challenges within the secondary school campus. There's more sort of scope and capacity to do that within the campus. And we also, even beyond that, as we move up through the grades, there is curriculum that there's what are called board authorized courses. And we have board authorized courses. Our board have authorized secondary school courses for the graduation program that facilitate gifted programming. My daughter, can she stay at one of the high schools even though we moved? So you do not live in our city, but you want to attend our high school. Yes, you can apply to attend our high school. We work with your current home address to determine your priority sequencing for placement. So we have an obligation based on board policy and procedure, and also based on the School Act, is about catchment and what they refer to as local students. So if you are not living in our city, you don't match with what's defined by the School Act as a local resident. But you absolutely can apply for our high schools. It's just a case of, from a placement point of view, you are in that sort of fourth place tier of placement. We do catchment, sibling, out of catchment that are in district, and then out of district students. So there is sometimes people have they come with the thinking that because you're already a grade 7 student in our district, it guarantees you more priority in your placement in grade 8 high school. But unfortunately, what we have to do is we have to honor what the School Act and what our board policy is around placement. Let's see. Yeah, that's an excellent question. So the question's about a student that's receiving supports at the elementary, and what can you do to connect with the high school? We do what's referred to as articulation. The student services, elementary student services staff connect with secondary school student services, and our learning services at the district level facilitate those articulation meetings. Trying to ensure that there's as much transition information as possible that meets the educational planning, that social emotional planning for students. I would encourage you as a family to reach out to your student support staff member at your elementary school to see if there's anything they need you to do or want you to do in any way to ensure there's as smooth a transition as possible. What I would say as a family, I would sort of Ian Laversage's message about parent, know the student's schedule, get to know, so learn the rotation, learn that information, learn the case manager for the high school, and get a connection, get your relationship with that case manager at the high school, so that you sort of boots on the ground in September can do what you need to do to ensure the transition's going as smooth as possible. You would, so the question is about cross registration, so I called it cross enrolled. Cross enrolled means that your student has a profile at 2 campuses. So if you're going to take a course at SRT and you're also attending Garibaldi, so using that hockey academy, you would be cross enrolled between the 2 campuses. You would have a primary school, and that's the school with the majority of your courses. So in this situation, Garibaldi is the primary school, and then SRT is considered, what we use in vocabulary, as the cross enroll campus for the hockey academy. So you don't choose SRT for your choice of school, you choose Garibaldi for your choice. That's your primary school. And then when you're doing your course selections, you pursue the Hockey Academy with Garibaldi. As a course selection, Garibaldi communicates with SRT to see if there are seat vacancies for Garibaldi students. Is there any vacancy to take on Garibaldi students in the Hockey Academy? Okay. I think that's hopefully, how have I done now? Have I caught all the questions?
I think we're up to what we have so far. Is if people have other questions, what's the best? What would you suggest? After, like, if we'll have a bunch of people who are going to be watching the YouTube later.
I would say they can reach out to myself if they have a registration question. Definitely myself, but if they also their catchment high school, if they have what they want as a general information, they might be wanting information about the specific school that their catchment is. They could reach out there. I would give a hesitation. Sometimes families reach out and ask for tours. And unfortunately, our campuses do not have the capacity to facilitate sort of open house tours for people. So we have the assigned time at the May 21st date. We give that to people well in advance. So hopefully that gives a student an opportunity to get a really safe, facilitated tour of this campus. And those tours on that May 21st, I apologize, May 21st date, Wednesday, May 21st, the secondary schools put a lot of thought into what that program looks like that day for the grade 8s, and they use a lot of their secondary school leadership students to help soften that transition day. But if you have questions, reach out to myself. Go for it.
We did have one more question come in about the MYP program, if it helps with the IB program for the future.
And I can take that and you can give your voice a break if you want.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, hi, it's Ian Liversidge. I'm the principal at Garibaldi. I was hanging on. The middle year program is the same curriculum as you would experience at any other school in the district. The only difference is slight subtleties in the assessment, evaluation, and some slight subtleties in teaching, structure, and organization. The International Baccalaureate Diploma Program is the one most people think of as IB, and that is the grade 11, grade 12 program with which you could complete up to 6 courses at a university level. So it is an enrichment, very rigorous academic program. Students that we have here that come from a wide variety of schools in our district and some that come from out of country as international students all have basically an equal level of success, whether they came through the middle year program in our building or any of our schools in our community. So it is absolutely not necessary at all to be able to find success at the grade 11, grade 12 International Baccalaureate Diploma Program coming through the MYP program here. So, one of the things for all of you is these programs and that kind of information, including the peak pod information, all those kind of things that are specific programs in the school. You'll find that each of the school websites is really, really robust. And some of the questions and the structures in and around how those programs work is contained on that. So don't be afraid to dig around on those websites because they are, we do put a lot of work into those. So thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Ian. So I like that Ian gave a shout out to the websites, having a look there for information, and please feel free to reach out to myself, and hopefully I will be able to get back to you in a timely manner with information. And you can reach out to me by email or phone. And if you do by email, include your cell phone number because sometimes I find it easier to do a phone call.
We did have one additional question about the peak pod at Thomas Haney. Is that out of catchment? It just says peak pod at Thomas Haney out of catchments. I'm not super
No,
clear on the
so
question,
if
but
I am, I think I understand it. If you're thinking you're interested in peak pod, that doesn't. Placement to Thomas Haney is done first, and then once all students are placed in Thomas Haney, candidates for peak pod are assigned from the people placed at Thomas Haney. So you cannot be selected for peak pod before being assigned Thomas Haney. I hope that was clear.
yeah, it was a question on YouTube, so we'll just give it a couple seconds to make sure that it actually comes through on YouTube to make sure that it's answered their question.
Yeah.
And Darren, were you wanting to add something to that? I saw you come on, but I wasn't sure if you were just.
We do have a question about what is peak pod.
That is a grade 8 clustering group program that's run at Thomas Haney. So those are grade 8s, and they tend to it's connected to curriculum and physical activities. The grouping, and there'll be information about peak pod on the Thomas Haney website. Similarly, first students are assigned their schools, and then once you're in Thomas Haney, if you're interested in peak pod, there'll be an opportunity for you to explore that and go through the selection process.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you to our principals who shared all this information with our parents. I hope that all of you have feel a little bit more comfortable with the process that we're going to have moving forward. A reminder again, opens online Tuesday, February 11th at noon. Make sure your portal, and we'll be putting out the PDF shortly with all of the links that we have here for you to review further. Any other things you'd like to add?
I think they've heard enough from me. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night and good luck.
We're gonna make